Hey guys, how you doing? Ron here with Tech Tips to Go. So in today's video, I had a lot of questions about e-commerce and how I started. I got a lot of questions like how I built my worth, how I started e-commerce, how I got into my Shopify store, what products to pick. So this came from two users in our Telegram group, and I just wanted to explain how I got started when building my Shopify e-commerce store. So I didn't take the traditional route of drop shipping. You see a lot of like stories, people are drop shipping and drop shipping like products, but the thing that I find which is difficult, which is very hard, is when you start drop shipping and competing against products, and if you don't pick a really, I would say niche rare product which not a lot of people are selling, then your margins, you won't make much money and you'll end up actually losing money because you're going to be spending a lot on Facebook ads. So I've gone anywhere from like spending like $1,000 a day for a Facebook ad. So I want to tell you like some of the lessons that I've learned. And I tried drop shipping a little, it didn't work. And I've spent tons of ads on Facebook, like pretty successfully. So the way I did it was so at the time, like I sold the business, we were doing canvas prints. We were doing print related items, but I would say that was like 7 years ago, and that was 100% like online based. We didn't want any customers coming in, but we saw in Toronto, because Toronto's so big, that you could probably make more margin doing like local selling as well. So if you're already housing your products in your storage, you got a storage facility, and like everyone else, I started from my basement. From my basement, I got a small 1,000 square foot warehouse, and then that went from 2 warehouses, 3 warehouses, to one main big warehouse where we had truckloads of imports from China coming. So it just made sense because we can buy like all the art, all the material, all the paper, all of the ink, all from China for like, for example, like a stretcher bar like that you put on a canvas, we're getting it for like 10 cents. Whereas if you were to buy it locally in like in America or Canada, we'd be paying $2 instead of 10 cents. So it made a lot of sense because we were able to do the volume. But there is a downside in that is, one, you got to pay for storage costs, then there's freight, and then you don't move all the products fast enough. But when you do get to that point where you got a steady stream of income and volume that you can push out, then it makes more sense for you to bring in those products, right? So one of the mistakes that like what happened to us is we ended up losing a contract because we put a lot of our eggs in one basket with one customer that probably did about, I would say about like 60% of our business. So once we lost that customer, it was like similar to Walmart. We were pushing a lot of volume for them. So when we lost that customer, we had to house a lot of the product and we didn't need that big space. So anyways, the way I was able to kind of test and trial all the things, like this is for the question that I had in Telegram. So let's say you're looking for a new product. You got a Shopify platform. So you got a Shopify platform and you're looking to find products that you want to build or want to get or potentially sell. So what I like to do is, okay, can I sell online across like multiple cities, provinces, states, globally, right? But also, is there an opportunity to get walk-in customers? Because those walk-in customers are going to like it, because a lot of people, like what we found was not everyone was online. Like, online is big, but a lot of people still want to come in and talk to you, talk to someone, pay with a credit card, even pay for cash. So you had some like cash advantages there, right? And then it started to bring a lot more people that were getting into retail wholesale. So we were the manufacturer and they wanted it to kind of wholesale from us. So that brought in a lot of orders. Now, this is the secret, and this is like 2 ways where I kind of do a lot of research, or not even like figure out before bringing that product in or selling that product to see if it'll sell. So here's step one. Go to a local marketplace like an advertising Craigslist or Kijiji. So if you guys are from the US, mostly you guys are from the US or Canada, what I did, so I have a staff of virtual assistants. So I was talking about this in my group. So VA, I refer to as a VA, a virtual assistant or virtual assistant team. So I have a bunch of VAs in the Philippines and in Ukraine. They do a lot of my work. They check my emails, they check my Slack, they check quotes, they answer the phones, etc. They do all my admin work, even all my YouTube thumbnails and all that stuff. They do that, right? Because I don't have time to do this. So eventually when you start building business and start making money, you want to maintain like a healthy balance of life, and you don't want to be doing everything. So you want to bring on staff. So I made a mistake of bringing on like full-time staff like in Canada, but in Canada the minimum wage is $14 an hour, whereas you can hire the same person to do the same work in the Philippines, if not better, but they're just in the Philippines. You just set them up with a voice over IP phone, give them remote access to like all the stuff you need, and then just make sure you monitor their keystrokes, the keylogs, all that stuff. I could talk about this later, but anyways, you get your VA or you do it yourself in the start. You go to Kijiji or Craigslist, you look, get an idea of what you want to sell. For example, let's say you're selling like artificial grass. You're selling artificial grass pieces, right? You're a wholesaler for that. You import it from China, so you're in the lawn care space, right? So even before you get into that, what you want to do is look at your competition, see how much they're selling it for, and then start working with your suppliers and say, well, how much can I get that? See if you could actually beat it by 10 to 20%, but still make a good profit off of it. If you could still make a good profit off it at that low price and you could enter the market into there, then do that. Now take that, like all that information, put it on Kijiji, create multiple ads, and just start putting ads saying, I've got artificial grass per square meter by this. Our warehouse, pretend like you're a medium-sized company, reputable company. Say we've been doing this for 10 years, supplying X amount of retailers in the Greater Toronto area, Greater Chicago area. This is how much we sell, XXX. Call for availability, it's going fast, right? Put multiple ads, do a variation, right? If you get a response for the price that you're liking on these multiple listings, great. Then you got somewhat of a business case where you're like, okay, maybe I can do that. Then on top of that, maybe you want to offer services as well. So maybe you want to start doing artificial grass services in Toronto, or maybe you want to subcontract it because you're bringing in those products and now you can just hire people to do it or start your own services, right? Multiple options. But that was one strategy that I used that helps. And I still use these classified ads, even though they're known as like cheap, still it's better than paying for a lot of Google ads. So my virtual assistants, what they would do is, so a lot of these sites, they don't allow like foreign addresses like from the Philippines or Ukraine to go to Craigslist. You have to verify it with a cell phone number, right? So get a burner cell or get a separate SIM card that is pay as you go, text only. Now, when your virtual assistant do all these ads for you, so make sure that they post like 10 ads a day, because your ad is going to be at the top and it's going to be seen all the time. That's going to bring in more sales when you get your e-commerce site going or your e-commerce / brick and mortar store. So they do all the postings for you, and then that can kind of help relieve a lot of your time so you can focus on your sales or your growth. So that's what we did for Kijiji. And we created multiple accounts. So what we used was a NordVPN, or we use a proxy IP. So proxy IP, basically you order an IP address from a known, well-known service provider, and you say, I want a proxy IP from Toronto. So you get the person in the Philippines that's working for you to use that proxy. So it looks like they've logged in from a server from Toronto. Now they can start posting locally on these local Kijiji sites or Craigslist, or when you have that text to phone verification for Craigslist, they can start posting, right? So that was one technique that I use. And then it also helps with like the post sales. So we would run a lot of Kijiji ads just for like selling a lot of our stuff, right? Just I got them to do like, okay, well, you need to space out your ads. I want you to post at 9 o'clock. I want you to post at 11 o'clock. I want you to post at 2 o'clock. And then I want you to post at 4 o'clock, right? So the ads were spread out evenly, because what happens is when you put, let's say they do bulk of their ads at 9 o'clock, those ads are just going to get pushed away after 9. So you want to make sure it's spread out like 9, 12, 2 and 4. So that was a strategy. I just wanted to kind of leave that out at this. I stopped everything that I was doing and I was just joining and listening to the Telegram group and some of the questions that they had in starting e-commerce. So that's a strategy, even without products, to figure out if your product is actually going to sell. Start with that. And then once you get going, then we'll have another discussion about next steps. So anyways, guys, if you liked the video, comment below. If you're getting into Shopify or e-commerce, just ask your questions below, and I'll give you what I know and what has worked for me, what has failed, and all that stuff. So I'll see you in the next video, guys.